Oh, hey, hello.
Yes?
Listen, I was wondering if...
Well, I think you have the wrong number.
No, I don't.
Take it easy.
Wait!
Hello?
Hey, it's me again. I was just wondering if...
I don't think so.
Let me start again. What is your name?
Why do you want to know my name?
I was just wondering... Have you seen the new Blabbermouth Show video?
What did you say?
No, seriously. Have you seen the new Blabbermouth Show video? Hello? Hello? Are you still there?
Look, I gotta go.
Okay, fine, but did you see it?
Well, dial someone else, okay?
Ah, another one who didn't see it? Damn it. Hi Blabbers, Blabbermouth here, and welcome to a new episode of How Is It Now? As promised, I'm going to talk about the first Scream movie, which was released in 1996 and directed by Wes Craven. It was written by Kevin Williamson, who will later to go on to write like this movie, I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was released a little bit later, like a year later I think. But we're not going to talk about that. The first movie. Well, there's this girl, Casey Becker, played by Drew Barrymore, which at the time was a pretty big actress. And she was one of the biggest names in the movie. So to have her as the first girl being killed was like a pretty big shock when I was young. When we were watching this movie, you know, we're like, no, they killed off Drew Barrymore? This movie can do anything. And the things this movie spawned is incredible, you know. It was like horror movies didn't go that well back in the days, you know. There weren't a lot of movies released. They were not doing that well, and then Kevin Williamson came with the script to Wes Craven. In the end, they made this movie, and it was like they referenced a lot of pop culture, you know, and a lot of movies after this one. Especially when you look at the release window of this movie, it's 1996. Somewhere just after the release of this movie and far into the 2000s, a lot of movies used the same formula. Multiple killers, who you have no idea who the killer is and you will never believe who the killer is in the end. Referencing pop culture stuff. And they did a great job, you know. There was such a big impact with this movie, and the people acting in this movie weren't that big, as I said, because Drew Barrymore was one of the biggest names that was attached to the movie. And she was also on the poster, you know, the girl looking like that, like, oh, I'm scared. That's Drew Barrymore. And her name was all over the poster, like, we got a movie with Drew Barrymore. But the movie also launched the careers of Neve Campbell, which I always referred wrong as Neve Campbell. I think she will slap the shit out of me if I say that. But okay. It has David Arquette. And it has, of course, Courtney Cox. And Courtney Cox was, I think, about 2 years into Friends. Back in the day, she was acting as Monica in Friends for about two years, because I think that show was released in 94. And this movie is from 96. So she was well known in the television world, didn't do a lot of movies back then, but it launched their careers. And what this movie did was incredible, you know. It spawned part 2, part 3, part 4, and the recently released Scream 5, which is, well, called Scream, which can be confusing for your viewers not knowing the 1996 one, but still, okay. When this movie released, funny story, I watched it with my nephew, and he didn't know much about this movie, me neither, and I didn't see it in theaters. I was let's see, when this movie came out, I was about 14, I think. And so I remember my dad, he got this movie on VHS. Yes, VHS, you know, DVDs weren't happening back then. So he had a VHS from his colleague, which he loaned. And I took it back, he took it back home, and we watched, they watched it, and I was like, no, I want to see it with my nephew. So I took it to my nephew's home, we watched the movie, and all moving along, we were like, no way, this one is the killer, no, that one is the killer. We especially accused Dewey of being the killer. Well, how wrong were we, didn't we? But still, we had so much fun watching this movie and trying to guess who was the killer, and then at the end realizing there were two killers. That was incredible. You know, what they did with the story, and like I said, using the pop cult references at the time, which can be a little bit outdated, I think. But still, you know, now that I rewatched the movie, I watched the 4K release, by the way, which is released on Blu-ray right now. You know, it's awesome. It's still good, it holds up, because they reference older movies like Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, movies like that. They reference a lot of those movies. And in the movie, you have like Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell. Her mother got killed years earlier, and they kind of accused their dad of being the killer and stuff like that. And she's being harassed like Casey Becker, the girl from the beginning, on the phone, and things go on, and all her friends get harassed. Yeah, well, how did I say? They get bullied by the killer, you know. And people get killed around them, and they try to unravel who the killer is, and then at the end, that the killer is her boyfriend, Billy Loomis. Holy crap. I did not see that one coming. You know, while watching, you have this character, Stu, and while you're watching this movie, like for the first time, you're like, could be Stu. No, it's not Stu, he's just a goofy idiot, he's not a killer. And then, oh, maybe it's Dewey, because he's the cop and he's doing suspicious things, maybe. And at the end, when you realize, and they showed the two killers, Stu and Billy, it's unbelievable. You know, and they want to be famous. That's why they're doing this. They want to, at the end of the day, they just want to be famous, you know. The real reason is that Billy's father went with Sidney's mom, and well, that became an affair, and things got rough, Dad got killed. That's why Billy is such a wacky, crazy idiot he's like, I'm going to get a date with this Sidney girl, I'm going to be her boyfriend, and then we're gonna kill her. And there are so many things in this movie that all the time that you are watching, you're like, they did such a good job, especially on a rewatch, that you know who the killer is. There are so many subtle things to point out which could make you realize that they are the killers, but also what makes you it makes you think about how well played it is. Pretending the movie is real in that universe, how well the two killers are playing it off that they are not the killer. You know, Stu is the goofy idiot who just wanting to have fun. He just want to party. You know, he's got his girlfriend Tatum, who also gets killed in a terrible way, which I don't think is possible. But there are so many people on YouTube talking about that, so look that up, because they're in the garage and Tatum, Stu's girlfriend, is trying to escape the killer, and there's like this cat exit, doggy door, I don't know, a cat door, doggy door, in the garage door, and she's trying to climb through it. Okay, she's thin, but she's pretty big, you know, but she's thin, and she's trying to get through it, and then the killer, he opens the garage door and she gets pulled up and gets killed that way. I doubt it's possible, but okay, you know, they were creative. That's another thing about this movie. They are pretty creative with their kills, but not gory. At least not too gory, you know. Years later in the 2000s we got Saw, that was like top of the notch. They even called it torture porn. That's not what this movie is. But it does have a lot of suspense, good kills, and it, like I said, it makes you think about who is the killer. And on a rewatch, now that I know who's the killer, it's so clever how they're covering things up. And a funny thing is, back in 1996, mobile phones weren't a big thing. There were not many people that owned a mobile phone. In the beginning of the movie, Billy climbs through Sidney's window, which he always does, to go up to her room and make her parents not see he's there. There's a mobile phone falling from his pocket, and she's like shocked. He has because he just received a call, and she's shocked to see a mobile phone, which nowadays that will never happen. So when you were not around when this movie came out and you're watching it like now, don't be surprised about a scene like that, or that mobile phones are pretty big and that a lot of people in this movie just use regular phones or even on a cord. Don't be surprised by that. But all by all, it's a great movie. It's not my favorite Scream movie. We're going to talk about my favorite Scream movie in another video. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Also ring the bell if you want to be notified when my new videos come out. Also check out my Instagram, because I post a lot of fun stuff on that. Also the release schedule for the new videos are up there. Thanks again for watching. I'm surprised if you haven't seen this movie yet. And if you did, tell me below. What did you think about this movie? When did you first see it? How surprised were you who the killer was? Let me know. Bye. Thank you for watching. Blabbermouth out.